And welcome to another episode of the Empower Man Podcast. It's your boy Mikey G coming to you live from the free state of Florida, caffeine free, unlike my co-host who is always caffeinated all the time. He is the patriot, the parent, the proud papa. He's a champion of the Second Amendment. He believes in long, slow, soft, wet, deep kisses that last for 3 days. He's my boy. He's your boy. He's a brother. He's a lover. He's a fighter. But more importantly, he's an American. Greg A. Tedora. Number one, sir. How are you?
Mike, another good one. I mean, I can't hate on any of that. All true this week. All true.
Yes.
I like it. Yeah, I'm doing all right. And I am drinking Cafe Bustelo at 8:30 at night because there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
Ever.
No judgments here.
Listen, us guineas grew up with coffee at night and plastic on the couch. Deal with it.
I remember plastic on the couch. My grandparents had plastic on the couch.
It's the worst in the summertime because you probably rip off about 3 layers of skin getting up.
I remember that. Wow, what a great call. You just brought back some memories, man.
Yeah, man. I love it.
Plastic on the couch. If any of our listeners have experienced that same thing,
I know some of them had it. I know they do. I know it. Yep.
Wow.
Anyway.
That's amazing.
It's a good one.
Anyway. So, Greg, what'd you do over the weekend? Did you go to a Tesla dealership and cause damage? Anything fun?
No, I mean, I had a lot of fun, but I did not do that. I don't partake in that sort of stuff, which we will talk about tonight.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I had an interesting conversation with my mom regarding what you just spoke about at the Tesla dealerships and the cars and stuff like that. So we'll get into that a little bit. We will, but I want to make a shout out first and foremost to all of our military personnel out there, here at home and overseas. Be careful, watch your back, and you are in our thoughts always, and we thank you for your sacrifice and your service.
Yes, and I would like to get on top of that as well. Thanking our policemen and women, our firemen and women, our EMTs, our first responders. Thank you for always making our local states, cities, municipalities safe and sound, because you men and women selflessly put your life on the line first in the fire, and we greatly appreciate that.
It's a horrible time to be a police officer, in my opinion, or any sort of law enforcement, ICE, DEA, anything. I mean, whatever DEA, but it's just a bad time because you just can't do anything right. You're wrong no matter what. People have gone on so long with no enforcement of the law. Now that people want to enforce it, it's a problem. And everyone's like, oh, they're overreaching and they shouldn't be doing that. Meanwhile, it's been a law forever. They're just enforcing it now. So
yeah, and I think what you saw over the last 4 years was a rewriting of history. They tried to tearing down the statues, the monuments. Yeah. Whether they were good or bad, they're a reflection of our nation's history, and you can't change history. And, even the rhetoric that people use on certain sides of the aisle when you compare someone to people 50 years ago that tried wiping out an entire race. That is very irresponsible, and it shows a lot of ignorance and unintelligence on their part. And I think it's horrible. And that rhetoric now has gotten down to the local levels, and you see people doing what they're doing, and it's just it's a shame.
Yeah, it is. It is. And we touched upon a little bit last week, like certain mayors and elected officials in certain states, just horrible. But whatever, hopefully things will change, but we'll see what happens. But I want to lead into tonight's topic, which is a tricky one. And once again, It'll offend some people. It won't offend other people. I don't care. I know you don't really care either. It's just an open forum topic. And I want to talk tonight about the importance of being informed before making a judgment. And we've spoken in the past, we don't like to judge people out of the gate, how they look or whatever. That's not what this means for the people that might be confused about what we're going to go down tonight. But it's more about being informed before making that judgment into what we see in the news right now, or what we're seeing, what we're being shown on the internet, relationship wise or status wise or influencer wise. And also when it bleeds now into the workplace, which is your paycheck and your livelihood, which now affects your family, it all tracks back to your pockets, fear, and fall in line, or else the whole nine. And I just think we're at a boiling point, in my point, with all this extracurricular noise that never really affected us on the level that it has in the past. Now it just seems people can't cope with it, and people are so polar and so divided in this country. It's like a powder keg. One little thing, and it's going to set it off. So I want to talk a little bit tonight about the importance of being informed, truly informed. You and I like to get news sources from multiple places, not just one, because as we are learning and have learned the past, I don't know, I guess a little bit maybe before COVID, but call it post COVID, a lot of the rhetoric, depending on what news station you listen to or whatever outlet you get your daily information from, it's usually skewed one way for a reason because of sponsorship, ownership, or whatever agenda is in the pockets of the executives. So on certain topics, I like to get as much information as possible if it interests me. If I don't care about it, I'm not spending the time. But I like to get as much information from multiple sources, even the other sides, because I like to be well versed, and then I'll make my own educated decision on that. So I wanted to know your thoughts on let's just use Tesla for example, since that's a hot topic now. And you see a lot of these older people like demonstrating. I mean, it's not the 60s anymore, guys. Like that time's over. Like the hippie shit. You did your thing back then. I think nowadays, like no one cares. Nobody cares. You have these people in their 60s and 70s, like, holding up signs at Tesla. Elon Musk is Hitler. That's a whole other thing that you discussed, and I agree with. You can't be throwing a name out like that, just blanket statement, because number one, it's disrespectful to the people that it did harm, and it just dilutes and waters down the actual power that had back in the day. And I just think it's all noise now. And you see these older people, you look dumb, you look stupid, you're wasting your time. They're probably retired, nothing to do. I'm not hating on that, but that's what you're choosing to spend your time with, just making noise and doing all this shit. I just want to know your take on that because I am not a fan of it.
No, I'm not either. And I think if you look back at the pandemic was the culmination of years and decades of infiltration of ideologies
Hmm.
that really got to where they were on the world stage, and how over the last 4 years our country went right down the toilet. And
Yeah.
I think it would have happened sooner had Hillary won in 2016, but Trump kind of delayed that. And you saw how the deep state works. You saw there's a machine that if they want someone elected, they can get someone elected. They can probably, not a conspiracy theorist, I'm just a conservative Christian, that, they can probably take you out if they want to. You see that with, some of the things that even some of the people that have died in government over the last like decade or so. I think when it comes to the the ideology and the people that are Tesla, it comes down to values. I think values can get skewed. I also think perceptions can get skewed. But a good friend of ours said this when we were having a conversation years ago. The Democratic Party isn't the way it used to be. It's not like it was when our parents were the JFK and the Camelot, and it was just like sunshine and rainbows because you had the young John Kennedy leading the barrage, and you had Bill Clinton and you had Barack Obama, two very charismatic individuals that had that same type of aura that people would want to get behind and follow. But it's just a different time, different context. So I really feel that with the Tesla thing, like if people that are smart and that went to school, and I'm sure people that are there are smart and went to school, they know that Trump and Elon Musk are not Hitler. No one would ever be Hitler, except what Hamas tried to do to the Israelis. I mean, they're trying to wipe out a whole race. You know what I mean? I never, even when I lived in Washington, D.C., and I used to go to the Trump Hotel often, and there was a great diversity there. You had all different ethnicities working there. Not one person looked like they didn't want to be there. So, like you said, how the media, social media perceptions get skewed. I think the stuff with Elon Musk is just ridiculous. People are acting like spoiled children that don't get their way. Or like getting your hand caught in the cookie jar. That's exactly what this is. And you know what? Like it's affected my business a little bit. Because I do have business outside of the podcast in Washington, D.C. But when you really peel back the layers, like it was bound to burst at some point. I mean, you can't just spend. You are great with money. And your dad was great. No, I'm serious. Like your dad was great. Your dad was
they were
so
great
smart,
with money.
but you are smart as well. And you know what I mean? Like, and like if you spend and spend and spend, like I finally learned, you spend, you're bound to like, where are you gonna go, dude?
Yeah.
So, I feel that I think where your values lie, is gonna really dictate where you lean in the public's perception, what they're trying to draw out of you. And you never know if these protesters were paid as well. Like, there's a whole other theory about that as well.
And everyone knows that they've found organizations that literally pay people, but that's fine. But yeah, I agree with you. And I think getting back to these people protesting or whatever, it's just when people go to interview them and they're like, "Hey, can I ask you a question?" They're a little abrasive, whatever, that's fine. They're playing their role. But when they actually break them down, like, "Hey, can I ask you a few questions? I want to hear about your cause." They come at them a certain way. And they're like, "Yeah, sure." They're like, "Okay, what are you protesting?" They all say the same thing, like, "I'm protesting this because of this." Like Elon Musk because he's a Nazi. Because that's the rhetoric now, obviously, on every channel. Okay. After you take that layer out, and they're like, "Okay, what do you mean? Can you actually give me some examples?" Everybody, nothing. And they get angry and they start, "Kurt, get the fuck out of my face. Or I don't have to answer to you." You don't have to answer to me, but you don't have an answer to the question. None of these people do. None of them. So they all spew out the same 1, 2, 3 line, the same canned answer. They all have the same one.
Yeah.
And then there's nothing after that. And then here comes the anger and the isms. You're a ism or you're a ist. And just insert anything you want. And then they get angry and they move on. Number one, no one has debating skills anymore.
No.
No one can have an open conversation.
Agreed.
I have open conversations all the time with people that don't believe what I believe in, and I don't believe in what they believe in. And we sit across from a dinner table and have no problems. It's called a conversation. That's how this country was started. No problem. Actually, a lot of good can come out of that because new ideas are usually spawned from that shit. But anyway, they never have any answers after that. And it's not funny. It's funny to watch initially, but when you start thinking about it, you have like Charlie Kirk, right? Goes to these college campuses and they debate whether the topic's like abortion or Christianity, whatever, I don't care. Pick a topic, I don't care. He goes with the kids that are in school, and they're like, "Okay, you believe in this, I believe in that. Tell me why. Nothing. It's like you could hear a pin drop in front of thousands of kids. They never can take it, like I just said. Just answer the question.
Right.
Answer the question. And if you're going to answer the question, it leads to this: where, if are you at all informed?
Right.
They just hear a sound on their TikTok, their Instagram, wherever the fuck they listen to, or whatever news, and they spew that one line. And there's never any substance after that. I don't care if you believe in A and I believe in C. I'm a B. I'm cool with that. But give me concrete examples. You might actually educate me and maybe open my eyes to something I never thought of.
Right.
But they don't do that because they never have anything. And then they literally just get angry. It's frustrating to see that because they're passing judgment on me because I believe in one way, but at least I'm coming to the conversation with some sort of informed knowledge, and I actually try to do a little due diligence on the topic. I can bring it past A, B, and C instead of just getting angry and calling them whatever I want to call them like they call me. It's frustrating because you're never going to, the ball doesn't go down the field that way. It just stays there. You never pass midfield.
Right.
There's never any engagement or growth from that. It's just stagnant and it keeps them polar. But it's funny because some of the college kids will get it when they're on the spot and they're like, you see that pause. I'm like, here it comes. They're like, yeah, you're right. I never thought of that. Or I don't have an answer to that. I'm just mad. That's okay. You could be mad, but don't be an asshole and start judging people because you don't know what you're talking about or you didn't take the time to get truly educated on a topic that means a lot to you.
Right.
So it's ironic, but it's not funny. It's entertaining for a second, but that's the majority now of the country. That's a problem.
Right.
And I take it a step further. If I'm an enemy of the state, I'm loving this.
Of course.
I am building my army at home, and I am just waiting for the right time because who's going to save the day? These stupid college kids that can't answer a simple question during a debate. They just want to yell, scream, and oh, I identify as this. How about you just identify as a good person? Just a good person. An educated, good person that just wants to do better for the country. That's all. I don't care who you sleep with. I don't care. But don't shove it down my throat. Big difference. You and I don't go around saying what we've done and what we like. And if you don't like it, then get out of the way. We don't do that. I don't want to hear it from somebody else. I really don't. So, anyway.
You made a point about the ball going down the field a certain way. The rules have been blurred. That's a problem. The rules
have been thrown out.
Thrown out, blurred. You don't have good versus evil anymore because evil is now blurred into good.
Mm-hmm.
And the good is now the evil.
Yeah.
And something that I try to follow, and I fall flat on my face more than I let on. Control your temper, for anger labels you a fool. Control your anger, or you get labeled as a fool. And you see that with these people that are, and I keep that in my mind, in regards to having patience and whatnot as part of my journey. But you see people that are on television that look like fools.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're holding a swastika sign outside of a Tesla dealership that had Elon Musk not aligned with Trump, you'd be preaching about Teslas and electric vehicles. Though it's funny, but in regards to in relationships or when you're courting somebody, it's very easy for either party to be gaslighted. You can gaslight people pretty quickly, and I think you're seeing that now, where the honeymoon's kind of over, and a lot of things are coming up that people don't really want to admit, like, oh my God, the Democratic Party would never do that. Well, it's Democrats, it's both parties. We're not saying one's not more, culpable than the other. They're both, if you're in politics, you probably have some filth on your hands. Some blood is on your hands,
Mm-hmm.
So, but I also think, again, you got to get more deep rooted in your values, because I really do feel that you'll attract the right person, the right people, the right situation, the right job, the right environment to be in. And if you value destruction and you value being spoiled and entitled, then believe me, you're going to find people just like that. But if you value loyalty and honesty and hard work and consideration and kindness and empathy, you'll find that as well.
Yeah, I agree. But the problem is, it seems like nobody wants to take the time to do that. And I think a lot of the parents didn't teach that generation what you just said. And they're kind of mulling over. And some got, I hate using the word indoctrinated, but when they go to some of these universities, I mean, they're literally just being brainwashed. That's a problem. If you're not a strong-willed person and you go to one of these, these really nice schools, apparently, at least back in the day, the legacy schools that always had a stigma to them, it was, you're proud to go there, and then you hear this shit that they spew, and it's a lot of hatred, pure hatred for like the country or whatever. I mean, it's a problem. And I just heard Andy Frisilla said this the other day. I couldn't agree more. And he's like, listen, all you people that hate on the country and talk a lot of shit about this and that, no problem. Go to the countries. Just go. I say it all the time. Just go there. Get out, pack your shit, and go. And let me know how it is. Half of you will die probably in the first week or two because you're going to get killed because you're not welcome there. And the other half are going to be begging to come back here. Guaranteed. So they're not informed. And I'm not saying you have to be worldly and travel to all these different countries, but you better know your facts about the countries you're standing up for, or yelling at people for, or whatever. So
I agree. And I think too, a lot of people, you're seeing a revolution in people that are going towards, relationship with God. You see that is advertised. Now again, whether that's, I don't judge anyone, and we've seen commercials with people that may have different narratives or motivation behind it, but it gets people talking. It's like whether it's good or bad, it's out there.
Yeah.
Right? If people don't like you, and then there are people that do like you, they're mentioning you. And that's just like, it's like in wrestling, right? Is if your stuff is out there and you're relevant and you're keeping yourself, like you are your own marketing machine.
Yeah.
So whether they do that, it's whether it's real or not, but we all have sin in us. Like we all have sin.
Speak for yourself, Mike.
We all have sin. That's true, right?
I'm kidding.
But I will also say this: most people live in bondage. Most people are enslaved to something, whether it's anxiety, depression, anger, fear, drugs, alcohol, gambling, sex. Everyone's got some type of bondage.
Testosterone.
Testosterone, Costello, ginger ale. Obviously, I lack ironing skills because my shirt's wrinkled. I'm looking at your shirt, finally pressed, and mine looks like it's been sitting here since 1999, which this shirt is almost 30 years old. But I digress. But we all are enslaved to something. We're all held. When you can live in freedom, when you can truly be free and set yourself free, detractors that come to you and people that will do things won't phase you because you are free to live in your truth, to live in your values. I'm getting there. And I think we're all getting to that place of freedom. Some people have it, and I wonder, like, how the heck do they have it? But again, perception, can't be reality.
Yeah, do they truly have it, or
exactly? We don't know that.
Yeah.
We don't know that. And then there goes the judgment. Oh, they have such a perfect life. Oh, he has such a great perception, or a great attitude, or he's this or he's that. Like, look at us, right? We talk about these things, but these are also struggles that we go through. Like, yeah, I'm free in certain ways. In certain ways, I'm not free. But we're working to getting there. And it starts with dialogue. having these conversations, because I guarantee you, people that are listening to it can relate to us, which makes us different than the other podcasters that are out there that have the antidote and the remedy, but they don't really understand the causation of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they just talk at you. I think a lot of them want to
Right.
put on a show and walk the walk, but at the end of the
Right.
day, they're all marks. Not all of them. Most of them are marks. And you know what? I'm not going to hate because they make their money or they have like a
Yeah.
huge following. But like, if you really think about it, a lot of them are all the same. They're all just like doing the same thing. They talk about the same shit, and it's like, I don't know. To me, it's unoff. It's like it's not real. There's no originality there. Like, who are you really? I know you're not that person. Who are you really? I don't know. I don't.
Well, let me ask you a question. How long did it take for you to find out who you really were?
I think we're all not all. I think I'm still finding out. I think we always
Exactly.
till the day we die, even if it might be big chunks or it might be small little slices. I think we find out more and more each day, each year we're alive. I think we're always finding out who we are.
But the difference between you and other people is that you show up and you're
Yeah.
present. And a lot of people don't want
And
to
I'll take
show
it on
up.
the chin if I mess up. And there's
Right.
no accountability now. And everyone doesn't want to rock the boat or, do something different. They all want to go along with the topic of the day. And, a lot of the popular podcasters for the younger kids, like, they interview like porn stuff. First of all, that's a whole other term that I'm not even going to use. You're not like we know, and we've been around real porn stars, no problem. Like the real ones, allegedly, not these. Oh, I make content. You're not a porn star. You're just not. So you're like a digital whore. So there's a difference between a porn star and somebody that just makes content. And it's all that fake persona. And getting back to my point, how many of these influencers can you interview on a weekly basis? It's the same people talking about the same things all the time. These girls that, oh, I did 1,000 guys in a day. I did 500 a day. Well, let's do 2,000. And these people just watch it and consume it. But you know what? It's like the drugs. Our country has the largest appetite. So shame on us. Shame on these loser guys that are listening to this. My big thing is if you just stop talking about it, they will go away. They will, because there's not going to have anything to talk about. But clearly, that's not where we're at. And all these, it's funny. I got to get the statistic, and I'm sure somebody will correct me on this. I heard this like 2 weeks ago. I think the percentage of OnlyFans members that are like white married men, like 40 to 60, is astronomical. But that doesn't surprise me at all.
Right. And we talked about judgment, and I agree with you. But I also got to play the other side of the spectrum.
Go for it.
I think, we don't know. So the people that go to that place,
Mm-hmm.
they're
Are you talking about OnlyFans?
The OnlyFans, yeah.
Okay.
If they're guys on girls, like we don't know their history. We don't know their. I mean, maybe they have depression. Maybe they've never been intimate with a woman. Maybe they're dying of alone. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, I agree with you because it capitulates the situation. But I'm also saying, like, hey, like, I get it because a lot of guys are seeking that intimacy, and if
But
you've been
that's not
exposed,
intimacy.
but right in our sense. But again, like how an alcoholic can justify what they do, or an addict can justify what they do. I'm just saying it's justification because it creates a artificial connection, but yet that person perceives that as authentic. You know what I mean? So, like, I agree with what you're saying, and I don't refute that because they
Mhm.
give credence to what these girls are doing. But I think there's also an incessant need for connection. Nobody knows how to connect anymore. No one knows how to talk to people anymore. Even in the workplace, I've been guilty of this because I think it's 2003, not 2025. Just sometimes when I deal with some of my vendors when things don't get done right. And it's all about how we present ourselves, but it's
Mhm.
also understanding and connecting with people that really creates better relationships. Just with someone at the grocery store, someone you meet at on the street. You know what I mean? If you come across a certain way, or maybe, hey, she shot you down. Back in the day, we would eviscerate that person, right? But now it's like, well, we don't know, and that's putting it mildly, And then what would happen after that evisceration? We'd get her phone number, and then the rest is history. But that is, and many times that's happened, so we can live that truth. But maybe she's going through a divorce. Maybe her mother died. We don't know what people are going through, and I think if we could just take a step back as people and try to understand the other person. I do my best, Greg. I can't understand these crazy liberals. I cannot understand them for the life of me. I try. All I can say is that they brainwashed, or the ideology is so far gone that I can't relate. So I just disengage.
So my thing is, I agree. I disengage. However, going back to what I said before, help me understand with concrete evidence or some sort of due diligence. Help me see your point, because maybe there's something I'm not seeing. I am open-minded enough that there's not just one way to solve every problem. So, but help me. The thing is, they're not doing that.
No.
You're just making noise. You're cackling. It's like a bunch of fucking birds just squawking around. And it's like, I hear that. Give me something that I can actually go with and go research and think about. You're losing, I said this last episode, you're losing people that are on the fence of agreeing or maybe going in your direction because you're being such an asshole about it. You're cursing, trying to be cool, or you just don't have the answers when confronted. And that turns a lot of people off. If you want to get through to people, you got to give them something to take so that they can mull it over. Give me something, and so then I can make my own decision. Maybe you sway me, maybe you don't, but at least I heard something with something tangible. And getting back to the OnlyFans thing, our boy Justin said this. Geez, it has to be now going on 9 years. I can't wait till these robots are perfected, because they're real close. I just saw something on it last week. So they were making all these women robots.
I saw that.
Now they've taken it to the nth degree. Now they're incorporating AI intelligence into these. They're not dolls. They're like legit woman robots. I guarantee you marriage will go down.
Yeah.
Because you know what? They don't nag. They don't talk shit. They support you. Everything we talk about. Granted, it's not a human, and I'm not supporting it. I wouldn't do it. But I'm saying the guys that are turning to this stuff, a majority of them will now turn to this. And the prices of these robots has gotten down where it's literally affordable to the average guy. You girls are fucked. He said this to me a long time ago, and at the time I kind of laughed at him like, you're crazy. These guys aren't. There's dudes in Japan right now, full-blown relationships for a couple of years with these things. Intimate relationships. Everything. These things do everything. You're done. Because what do you bring to the table? That ain't getting you shit anymore. I'm just telling you, he was right. He called this a long time ago, and now I'm like, because I just saw a special on it. It's legit, man. And now mixing AI into it, which is scary. You girls are toast. I'll go on record saying that now.
Can you use Affirm or Klarna to pay for one of these?
Listen, yeah, I think that'll get there. That'll get there.
Give me 4 months of interest free.
God bless Affirm. Feel free to sponsor us, because we definitely sponsored you.
Yes, and you can pay us in installments interest free, like you pay.
Yes, But yeah, no, I'm going on record now. You girls are screwed when these robots get perfected. Anyway, yeah, the arguments just help me understand you. I want to understand their point because it's some of these issues are so, like you said, out to left field. My brain can't compute that. Help me. Help me.
Well, here's the thing that when Corey comes on our show again, and for those that don't know, the mayor of
Yeah.
Tempe, Arizona is a good friend of the show. Go back to our earlier episodes where
Yep.
we did about an hour and a half interview and we answered a lot. We asked a lot of
Like I
questions and
loved his
he was
the stuff he
awesome.
did for the vets. Love it.
Yeah, love it.
Fully support it.
Love it. And he seems
Yeah.
like a moderate Democrat. He seems like he's moderate. And I don't mind someone who's moderate. I think moderate is good because you got to incorporate all. We were always taught growing up that there's it's inclusive. We were taught inclusivity. At least I was like, as
I
far as
was.
playing team sports, it's an inclusive, right? You got
Uh-huh.
9 people, you got a bench, playing baseball, the manager, the coaches, whatever. And somehow that's been diluted and that's now toxic.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want anyone who supports, and believe me, I support women and everybody,
Mm-hmm.
like all good. How can you vote or stick with a party that voted to allow men in women's sports? Just answer me that. That's all I need to know.
So they
45
vote.
of them. 45.
They vote because that's not their main issue, and I get that. That's not a main issue to everybody. It might be for you or me. It may be a big deal enough for you and me to where we're not messing with that. But some people, and I was taught this, if you don't know who to vote for, pick something that's literally to your core and go with the person that represents that. I'm just saying, some people that's not important to, but another issue is aligns with those people. That's how it happens.
But if you want to have control over your body, but yet you're playing up against a man and you can't control your body because you're not going against someone
Here's the
you're
thing.
equal, then how is that fair? How is that
Here's the
supporting
thing.
women? Right?
Most of those people don't play fucking sports. They could barely make it upstairs without being winded. These fat asses aren't in sports, so this isn't a big deal to them.
Right.
Plus,
I
also
mean,
there's also a percentage of people that just like to buck the system no matter what. They just want to be on the opposite just to be, whatever. But my point is some people might pick a different topic completely. Like, I don't know. I'll just say like whether it's like abortion or another thing that they stand for. They don't even care about sports. I care about this. And it just so happens that person is for men and women's sports. They're like, I'll take the loss on that as long as I get the win on this. I actually understand that. I don't agree with it. I understand it. Because I was taught if you don't know what to do, pick a topic and go with that. Maybe that's their topic and they don't care about what you just said. Not disagreeing with you,
right.
but
But
that's
there's
how it
no,
happens.
and that's the same way you can get
Well, here's the
into,
thing.
yeah.
Here's the thing. So,
Mhm.
a big thing with me is military and security of the borders in our country. I know a lot of people that I'm very close with. That is not priority on their totem pole. These things are their priority. These things they're talking to are lower on the scale for me. That's the beauty of voting, though. It's just unfortunate out of this whole entire country. That's our government. That's the best of the best in this fucking country. The people in that room. It's shameful. And I'm sorry. Age limits and term limits. It looks like a fucking old age home. Get them out. Get fresh blood in. But to prove your point, it's my priorities are not yours. Yours are not mine. And we vote how we vote. That's how they get in.
Right. And therein goes the judgment and being informed about your judgment, whether you're
Yeah.
judging people, bringing that in. Like, how often have we judged girls? We see a girl,
Huh.
oh, wow, I can't afford her. Wow, I need a second
I don't
mortgage or
say
a third.
you know me. I don't like that shit.
Well,
I don't.
someone on this podcast has said that. Someone on this podcast has said, I can't afford her, or boy, she must be expensive. I don't know who that could be, but someone has said that. I'm just saying, Greg.
And I
I'm
yell at you
just
every
saying.
time for saying that.
I'm just saying, sometimes you can judge a book by its cover, and you know what? You are completely wrong because the title and the subject are contrary to your beliefs. So I own up to that. Anyway.
Accountability.
But I took it on the chin.
Accountability.
Accountability.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
So their totem pole doesn't match ours. No problem. They vote this way. I vote that way. No problem. What's the difference? Because I voted that way, you're hammering me and judging me and just blanketing me as, oh, you must be a misogynist or any of the list of all the ists and racist or this or toxic masculinity, all these things. So you just green light me on everything, but I can't do any of that to you because the second I do that, it's a problem. But that's all you do on my end. See, that's where if you're going to vote A and I'm going to vote B, just respect the fact that we voted and shut the fuck up. Because if you're going to judge me, I'm hammering you and judging you back. I don't want to do it.
Right.
But people do this, and that's the problem. If you just kept the judgment out, which is impossible, that's it.
But
I mean,
Greg,
families are divided over this. Friendships have been lost. Decades. Sure. Friendships have ended over this shit. That's disgusting to me, and it's embarrassing, and it's shameful. It's shameful. The fucking vaccine, I've said it. People that took it shame people that didn't, and now end 30-year friendships over it. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You guys have been through the ringer together and come out the other side cool. And this is what divided you guys in the twilight of your lifespan? That's fucking shameful. Shame on you. You should know better.
Well, I think judgment and respect go hand in hand. I think there's a certain part of whether if you respect yourself, and let's use me for example, right? Like I mentioned, we joke about it, right? But when you see a girl attractive, maybe they have a lot of, they project like nice things, so you automatically feel inferior, but you're really projecting your stuff onto that person, right? Because for all we know, she could be shy, insecure, maybe she's got stuff going on, and
until you see her link tree. Anyway, sorry.
It's easy link tree, but and I think along
here's
the
my
line,
wish list.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
That's good. Are you making one for your birthday, or for actually?
I should. I'm gonna shake my money tree.
You do have a money tree.
Yeah. Spring's coming.
I can't wait. Better water that garden, buddy. I might need a few $1,000s.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I also think too. I think with making informed decisions before you judge someone, it's also we got to be careful because, and I'm guilty of this, and this is why I'm saying it. You got to be careful not to project your stuff on other people. Because if you're in a difficult situation in your life, let's just say things aren't going well for you, and then you see someone that, wow, she's gorgeous. I wish I could be with her. But maybe she's broken. Maybe she's got stuff going on. Maybe, the beauty you see on the outside doesn't permeate through the inside. Maybe that beauty's a mask for some deeper stuff. So we got to be careful. And I'm guilty of this, which is why I'm saying it. And I don't mean to sound redundant, but we got to be careful not to project our stuff onto other people. Whether that stuff gets projected on us, fine. But it can also stop with us. We don't have to feed into that. I don't have to go back and forth with someone. I have the power and the ability to cut that line of communication if I feel someone's projecting their stuff onto me. Yeah. And I don't want to go in a tit for tat. I don't want to go tit for tat with somebody.
No, it's exhausting. I'm looking to relax. I mean, a relationship shouldn't be that constant, it should, listen, there's ups and downs, ebbs and flows to everything. Totally get it. But at the end of the day, you're always in alignment. You're always going in the same direction. Maybe one's a little bit ahead of the other, then the other one's a little bit ahead, but you're still going on that path together.
Right.
And I think a lot of that gets lost. And people are very quick to pull that ripcord, man. They are fast to eject. They don't want to put the time in. And then because, the way society is now, you just get somebody else right away, and they never stuck around to be in the trenches with that person. You never know. You might come out 10 times stronger with that person. And you might have you could have messed up maybe a soulmate or something. I don't know.
But those are the best relationships. But if you look back, we've had this conversation. we were born probably 10 years too late.
Yeah.
Right? When we were growing
Yeah.
up, there was all the awesome teenage love stories.
Yeah.
Like once the 90s hit, you saw like kind of like
Mhm.
the changing of the guard and then getting into the 21st century. Here we are now 25 years later from 2000 and
Yeah.
marriages have changed, families have changed. I mean, I don't know what the birth rates are in this country, but I know
I have
they're
no idea.
down. I know marriage has got to be in decline. I think people like the pomp and circumstance, but they don't understand the responsibility that goes along with it. I think they want the nice ceremony, they want the party, they want all this stuff, and
Of course.
you know,
Then just do that. Just have a
we've
party.
had a very very close friend of mine that had an amazing ceremony, and within 2 years they were done
Yeah.
after dating for over a decade. And I think when you get married, I'm sure because I never got married. I'm not opposed to it, but I I'm too I'm too selfish right now, and I admit that.
Smartest one in the group.
I,
Smartest one in the group.
I like my life, and if someone's going to come and join me in my life, I
Mhm.
have non-negotiables. We talked about that earlier in the day,
Yeah.
or earlier in the
Yep.
day, earlier in our series here, and I have my non-negotiables. And the bottom line for me is, if there's not a girl that doesn't have God in their life, it's probably never going to work. Because that's what I work for. I'm working towards that life because I'm done with the old life. I'm done with it. I like to have my fun, but I like to have different fun.
Mm.
Like, I like to go to dinner, have my wine, maybe sip on a bourbon, not have a bottle, or not go drink a 12 pack. You
Time and
know,
place. There's still time to do that.
yeah, not a 12 pack, man. 'Cause I honestly, I don't feel good afterwards. Like, I wrestled Saturday night.
Because you got to practice.
Nah, man, I'm good. I've had enough practice, bro.
All right.
Dude, there's no
I'm
way
gonna
I would
get you.
ever sign.
I'm
I
gonna
could
get you.
never sign my organs over to anyone. They'd open me up and be like, "We don't want this liver. Maybe the
Hey,
heart's good.
listen.
The heart's
You
good.
you. It might be better than you think, man. Just saying.
Might be. It might be.
Just saying.
My lungs are good. My heart's probably good. You know, you can take my hair. I got great hair, man. For
You do have
46.
great hair. You do
Thank
have
you.
great hair.
If you want my hair tips, go to our website and read my bio.
Yeah. It's somewhere in there. The
I
8
tell you, I
pages.
perfectly placed the hair paste. L'Oreal hair paste, man. Even though I'm
Mm-hmm.
rocking my Jordan hat because that's my guy. Remember, Greg, Republicans buy sneakers too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, getting back on what we were saying. It's the judgment, man. It's immediate because it's all over now. If oh, did you vote for Trump? And then boom, it's just the gauntlet's thrown at you. Like, whoa, why don't you, if you want to talk politics, first of all, no one ever gave a shit back in the day. But anyway, if you want to know why I voted for whoever I voted for, just ask me and we can have a conversation. I voted because of this, and this, not what you may think I did, or just because of this or that, or oh, he's a criminal or that. Man, everybody's a fucking criminal at that level. Stop. It's all good. I have no problem with that. But if somebody's like, oh, I voted for, I don't know, I voted for whoever that I didn't vote for, I'm not hammering them. I'd like to know why. But maybe I'm old now. I am old now. But maybe it's because I'm old that I just then why did you do that? And not why as in like why. Help me understand why'd you do that? What's important to you? I know some people that voted for Kamala, and for some of them, I understand why they did it. I have no problem with that. But what I have a problem with is if people didn't like the way I voted, which it's none of anybody's business who anybody votes for. It's our right to vote for whoever the fuck we want. And next time I'm going to vote for myself. I'm going to put my name down. Actually,
I'll
I'm going to
vote.
put your name down. I'm going to put your name down. You put yours, I put mine, and I'll vote for you. You vote for me. But like when they're like, "Oh, you vote, you're a this or you're a that," like it's because people are shoving it down people's throats in a negative way instead of just talking openly. However, it's actually not these people's faults for not talking openly. Because last time I checked, all these shitheads in Congress and the Senate and all that stuff, they're doing the same thing. They're not leading by example. They're not showing us how to actually have a debate about serious topics, issues with facts. And by the way, no one trusts the government anymore because of that. That's a big reason why they don't. Because you have all these people spewing these things, false information, misinformation, disinformation, no information, complete lies, propaganda. It's a fucking mess. So I don't even blame the common person for not getting along or having a serious talk about why I voted for X and you voted for Y when the actual politicians are just as bad. I'm sorry, you guys got to lead by example. But they voted these assholes in, and that's what you get. So there you go. It's a mess in my I can't wait to have Corey on. So I want to be like, how do you fix that? I don't think it could be fixed, but how do you fix that? Enlighten me. Maybe he has an answer. Or maybe he has a way that makes sense, and I'm all for it.
Well, it's like a relationship, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a relationship with your parents, whether it's a relationship with your partner or spouse. You become conditioned to certain behaviors. Like, oh, that's just Mike. Oh, that's just Greg. Oh, that's just so and so. Or, oh, that's our friends. So take that same
Greg
approach
and Mike are
to
crazy. Oh, you went out with Greg and Mike? Oh, well, like, it's that judgment. Meanwhile, you don't know what we did, what we didn't do, who we helped. Just saying.
Greg and Mike. Notice the first part. Greg is crazy. Mike is a bummer. That's why you mentioned your name first. I'm very docile.
Sure.
Anyway.
Hey, two
But
negatives make a positive.
true. We
There
are
you go.
we are the
It's
princes.
science.
We are the prince of positivity.
That's right.
Princes. But I want to be Prince Harry. You can
I don't
be
want to be
Prince
anything
Charles.
associated with that shit.
All right. So we're not.
Sorry.
No, but the point is I think when you're conditioned to the way people behave, like they conditioned over the last 4 years for people to be, you don't know anything. Let the government handle your stuff. Let's allow 10 million illegals coming in. We still don't know who's in the country. We still don't know what's going to happen. And I'm sure there's attack that's going to be brewing, and we're going to be caught with our pants down, essentially. So you've conditioned people like you condition, like, the way your relationship is with your parents. You've been, oh, that's just how my mom is. Oh, that's just Sleepy Joe. He's just Uncle Joe. He's just, whatever. And I think, when you're conditioned to that thing, even when you look at the behavior of people, like you said, this has been brewing for decades. You've conditioned generation, and you're seeing that come to fruition. When you think, and you know why I voted for Trump? Because there are only two sexes. That's it. There's not 5, 6, or 7 sexes. There's two. It wasn't Adam and Eve and Greg and Mike. It was Adam and Eve. Right? That's common sense. Men don't belong in women's sports. Do you want a dude playing in your girls' sports?
Absolutely not.
Do you want criminals? Like, what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. What's right is you break the law, you go to jail. It's wrong to assault a police officer. It's wrong for people to commit a crime and be out in 12 hours. Like, this is common sense. But to me and you, because we're older, this generation that's come underneath us has been conditioned to say this is wrong. There's nothing wrong with questioning your existence, because as someone who's trying to go down a different path, I question a lot of things. I think about death a lot. I think about my mortality a lot. I think about a lot of things that I question. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But there's also a rationale that you got to have, that that needs to be. People can't have dialogue because they don't have rationale behind their explanations. You people speak from emotion. They don't speak from a place of intellect. And that therein lies the, F you, Greg, you don't know what you're doing. But
get it all the time.
Right.
Get it all the time.
Hey, Greg, listen, I understand your point of view. Here's mine. Here are the stats. Like when Corey comes on our show, I'm going to have my stats. Whether it's right or wrong, I'm going to at least say, hey, okay, cool, Corey, thank you for that. Because I respect Corey as a man first, and mind his political affiliation. And that's where we have gone astray. We've lost respect for each other. And that is why we're in disarray.
and we've lost respect for each other from the top down. It'd be different if just the public was like that. I think it could be somewhat contained or corralled and slowly fixed, or at least bettered. But because it's such a debacle all the way to the top, if that's like that there, the streets will never be cool. Ever.
Never.
Ever, ever.
Well, good
And
with
I
this
don't
shit.
know. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
My great grandparents came here legally, Ellis Island, the whole nine. Saw their name in the book. Cool. Why should we not send somebody back that is here illegally? I'm sorry, what judge blocks that? I mean, there's reasons why. We don't have to get into all that, like who appointed him and what his agenda is, but like just as like an American, what are you doing? These are like some real hard dudes, like straight criminals. It's not like they like robbed a convenience store, no big deal, to feed their families. These are like real bad people. Some of the worst of the worst. You want them here? I don't know.
Well, here's an example. My girl, that's right, my girl, professionally speaking, Pam Bondi,
Mm-hmm.
is seeking the death penalty for Luigi, guy that killed that dude from behind.
I know who he is.
And you know what? He deserves it.
He's like a folk legend now, though, man. That's a bad thing to do optically.
But there
I'm just
again,
saying.
there again is the right versus wrong.
There's the
That
black and white right versus wrong, 100%.
right.
And he literally murked that dude in the back like a coward. That's a whole other thing I have a problem with. Like, at least fucking face him, but whatever. That'd be a problem. I'm just saying, it's going to divide more and more. It'll be, I don't know if it'll go full blown like riots, but things will spew from that. I'm not saying don't do it because of that. I'm just saying it's gotten to the point that he's like a friggin' folk hero.
But 77 million people have common sense because they voted common sense. It wasn't about Kamala versus Donald. It was about common sense or morality or the right thing versus stuff that's so absurd and so out of this mind that another 4 years we would have been done. And we've been
But
doing this
but
this
some
podcast
pe-
out in the street.
but some people feel exactly what you just said about
Yeah,
their issue that they voted for. Are they wrong? I'm just playing devil's advocate.
no, not at all. I
So
respect that.
they voted on their common sense for their issue.
I respect that 100%. And again, when you look at, I again, you know, being in a partnership, I'm sure there are budgets, and you run your household like a corporation, or I don't know. I've never been married, but I've heard through people that maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm living in an '80s sitcom where you could actually sit down and do things together and figure
Whoa.
out things. But like if you're looking
I'm a
to
boss. I'm a boss. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Hmm.
if you're looking to let's just say you want to go on vacation, right? But you're
Yeah.
spending money on Starbucks coffee. Let's do the math, right? I just threw it out
Uber Eats, Mike. I gotta get my ice cream for
there.
$30.
Do that over 30 days.
Yep.
That is a ticket on a cruise line. And
100%.
all that I believe Elon Musk is doing is going in there, trying to make things more efficient so that the money that we pay as the middle class can get allocated appropriately. Now, I feel like, and I love the country of Nepal. I've never been there, but I love all people. I don't want my money going towards comics that can influence or brainwash people into thinking what might not be. I would rather see them take that money. If you're going to give it to Nepal, let's build homes. Let's get them running water. Let's get them food, not transgender comics. Sorry.
I'll
It's
take it a
just,
step further, and I'm
you
not
know what
going
I
to be
mean?
sorry. How about, sorry, fuck Nepal, use that money and put it into school systems or teachers or first responders or what a concept, this country. Put our money to our use. What the hell are we doing? I don't care about gay Muppets in fucking Sudan. Millions of dollars. This was literally found. You're right. They found this. It's a fact. This isn't like a far-fetched thing. It was like a puppet show, like a gay puppet show in some weird country. Use that money for schools or something here. We can use it. Food, healthcare, name something here. Use it for that, please. For the love of God.
And let's look at Social Security. Most illegals were collecting Social Security. People that were dead were collecting Social Security.
Yeah. They found, I think, a 9-year-old. Yeah,
right?
Something like that.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, and I'm going to kind of wrap up my part here.
Renting empty buildings, governments renting for decades an empty building. Where's that? Tell me that's not a money laundering. And stop. Just stop, please.
Like it shouldn't matter where your beliefs lie. There are certain things that are absolute and concrete, and I think one's moral compass. And again, I don't judge. I try not to judge anybody. If I came across judgmental, I don't understand liberal mentality. I just don't. And I'm very passionate about what I feel. And I think as I become more engulfed in trying to lead a different lifestyle, my values have also grown. And I also feel that if you have a good moral compass, it's going to lead you to what you value out of society. You and I both value a strong military. We both value a strong economy. I value world peace. I love Israel because I've never been, but my beliefs are like, yes, we should help Israel. These are my beliefs. I can go on and on, but I also have a moral compass in me, no matter, how crazy my life has been and all the things I've done. The old life is gone, a new life has begun when you start doing different things in your life and you start to grow. When you grow, you shed skin, you get rid of your old life. So I think if your moral compass can lead you a certain way, like I think it's wrong to call Donald Trump Hitler. I think it's wrong to call Elon Musk a Nazi because where are my facts? Where are they? Are they trying to eradicate a human race? No. But you have people, well, I have to accept their beliefs because I would be a hypocrite if I didn't. I will never understand that methodology. And I think if you have a good moral compass and you have self-awareness, it'll allow you to, catch yourself from judging someone and actually trying to get to understand that person and just kind of bridge the gap between our differences. Does that make sense?
Of course, it makes sense, but it's not happening because of everything we spoke about. I just want somebody to enlighten me. I'm all ears. I'm open minded enough to at least hear your shit, but I want facts. I want some sort of facts. That's all. And for the love of God, take our farmland back. All the China bought up all our farmland, especially around military bases. I'm sorry, I don't understand, and we should literally just take it back, sell it back to farmers. There's a good use of money. Instead of talking about gay Muppet shows in Sudan, buy our farmland back, give it to the farmers, and start setting up some more homegrown food here and get those people out. They should not be here. They should not be there, in my opinion. They shouldn't.
I agree.
Last time I checked, Greg and Mike can't buy farmland next to a military institution in fucking China. I don't think they're going to let me or you. So why can they do that? Just saying. That's a problem. But that's a long play that they're very good at. It's a whole other topic. But anyway, a lot of interesting topics and a lot of butthurt people, which is fine. It's just, I just want to have a conversation. We're going to have Jocelyn on soon again from Hawaii, and I'm very interested in hearing about she entered local politics I'm dying to hear how that experience was, especially in Hawaii, coming, full circle after the fires and all that shit. I'm dying to know how that was. So she's excited to come on. She'll be on, what is that, next week or something like that? So next couple of weeks she'll be on. So looking forward to that. So anyway, if anybody is offended, just call Mike. He'll take care of it. He's the nice one.
I'll talk you off the ledge.
Yeah, that's it.
With a Miller Lite or a Cafe Bustelo.
Yes, but gonna wrap up with just please be informed instead of just making noise. It's not helping your cause. Holding up a stupid shitty sign is not helping your cause. Stopping kids from going to class in college, it's not helping your cause. It's a bad look, actually. Instead, listen, this isn't the 60s. I'm going to lie down in front of a bus. That shit, whatever. Those days are over. Most people don't care, and you're disrupting somebody's day. Just figure out a way to get people to get, like you said, come to the table and have a discussion instead of holding up people's jobs or school or whatever and being assholes about it, throwing shit at them, firebombing things, spray painting property that's not yours. Last time I checked, if I went down the street and threw a brick through a window, you're not seeing Greggy T for a minute. They'll arrest me in a heartbeat. So how about you just stop doing that and try to find a better way to speak about your cause? Most of them can't because, like I said, they can't finish that. They can't answer a question. They're just spewing the canned lines that are fed to them. They're very good at that. And for the older people protesting, go away. Go have fun. Go enjoy the rest of your life. Go have some fun. Go on a date. Go have some sex. Go drinking. I don't know, go do something. Go shoot some guns. I don't know. Go away. It's annoying at this point. It's annoying. I don't want to get started. I'm trying to go to bed soon. Anyway.
If you would like additional content, follow Greg's Patreon channel coming soon, where
Just
Greg drinks
stop.
coffee and I just throw him softballs.
You
And
guys have
believe me,
nothing better to do? You have nothing better to do with your lives? Anyway, Navy SEAL Danny Dietz Foundation. Get your tickets for the dinner. I believe it's May 23rd, Decatur, Texas. Go support them. It's a great cause. They got a lot of good speakers, and it's the 20th anniversary of Operation Redwings. If you don't know what that is, please go educate yourselves. It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Very good. Love it.
Thanks, Mike.
I love it. Greggy T, awesome episode. Great topic. Covered a lot of things.
Yeah. Not a sexy one. We're not talking about porn stars and all sorts of things that are on the internet now, but I don't care. I know you don't either. These are everyday things that people face, and we will talk about it. Real.
We're not trying to be sexy, Greg. We're just sexy in general.
I mean, yeah, I woke up like this.
I'm getting a silver fox. Might delete. Felt cute. Might delete later. Nah, I'm always cute.
Shout out to Aimpoint. If you're listening, I'd like an acro sent to my address, please. And regional operators, love your stuff. Keep putting it out.
And a shout out to the GOAT, Michael Jordan. Thank you, Michael, for The Last Dance. I watch that sometimes. I just get so fired up. I want to run through a wall and just want to attack something.
Speaking of that, on Michael Jordan, because a real ball player, real, tough, competitive, which I respect, leader, everything.
Self-made billionaire like Magic Johnson.
Everything Queen James is not. He can go fuck himself. He's nowhere in the vicinity of Michael Jordan. I don't care what anybody has to say. Guy's soft.
And on that note, Greg will give his view on sports next time we are on the Empower Man podcast, where again, we're going to tee off with some Cafe Bustelo, and I'm just going to lob them in there.
Wait, I'm going to end on a positive. I'm not going to give him any airtime. On a positive, one of my oldest friends, Gooch, his nephew just won the NC2As in a couple events. 500 freestyle, he just missed his own record, and I believe he won the 400 IM. Congratulations, Rex. He's a great kid, and we will be seeing him on the Olympics. And we probably will see him medal. So keep it up. He's doing awesome, and proud of my boy. You have an awesome uncle.
Well, one question: did he compete in women's swimming or men's swimming?
Men's. Mm-hmm.
Wanted to clarify that for people that are listening.
Good point. Men's NC2A champion, Rex Maurer. Good for him. Keep it up. Keep showing the flag.
Very good.
Pretty good, Mike.
All right, I'm
Everyone-
signing off, man, because you know what? We've got elections down here, and I got to see who's winning. God knows. I'm sure we should be safe, but let me just see who won these elections here. So I'm going to sign off from the free state of Florida, DeSantis land, soon to be Byron's world. Byron, keep it going, my friend.
All right. Everyone stay safe and be good to each other. Later.